Greetings, I'm Pastor Milton Ryan Jr., Senior Pastor of Kingdom Builders right here in Birmingham, Alabama. It's such an honor to be able to come into your homes, your jobs, your automobiles, wherever you may be, just to give you a quick motivational moment. That's right, I want to give you a kingdom nugget for today, and it's found in John chapter 5. John chapter 5, the story is told about a man that was at the gate of Bethesda, laid at the pool of Bethesda. You get a chance to look at it. John chapter 5, verse number 1 through 9. And the Bible tells us that Jesus came by and he noticed that the man had been laying there for a very long time. He had been there for a long time. One translation says it was 38 years that he had been laying there looking for the angel to come and trouble the water. And here's what the word tells us, that after the troubling of the water, the first person that steps in was healed of whatever plagued them. Now, I read that, but I want you to think about this, because George Washington Carver once said, and I quote, "It would be easier to put a trade into the hands of the 90%. W.E. Du Bois says, the talented 10th would infuse and inspire energy in the 90%. They both believe, think about this, they both believe that it takes some type of initiation on the person's part, but real change takes place from within a person and not necessarily without." I say that because Jesus, being a good Jew, he understood the importance in the text of going through Jerusalem. It's the second Passover, and as he's going through by the sheep gate, here it is. This was the place where the lamb was brought as the sacrifice. The lamb was brought at the sheep gate. And when the lamb was brought, the angel would come down and trouble the water for this sole purpose. So whoever stepped in could be made whole of whatsoever plagued them. But think about this. When you look at the text, they're at Bethesda, the house of mercy, house of grace, or outpouring of water. He's at a particular place, and there were all kind of men looking, not necessarily for mercy, not necessarily for grace, but I like to say looking for manipulation, because there's a difference. They weren't looking for the miracle other than to manipulate Jesus into giving them what they wanted. And I say that because sometimes, even today, people think that they can manipulate God into doing what they want him to do. This man laid there 38 years, a long time. And what got me was, why would Jesus pass blind man after blind man, halt man after halt man, withered after withered, just to get to one man? He passes a sick person. He passes another sick person, only to get to one person. And I believe this, the reason he did this is because how he handled the endurance. For 38 years, this man got up in the morning, going to the pool, believing he would get healed. And when it didn't take place, the very next day, he'd do the same thing over and over again. And I believe that Jesus was honoring his faith, honoring his endurance, honoring his determination, because it takes real faith not to get what you believe God for, not to get what you expected, and then turn around and come back the very next day believing that this day will be your day. So Jesus passed blind man after blind man, halt man, sick man, only to get to this one person, because I believe he was honoring his faith. And might I suggest to you, everything that you've gone through, for some of us, these last 4 or 5 months have been tough, especially during the COVID-19. It's been tough. And I really believe that because you've been faithful where you are, in your job, in your church, in your home, in your community, you've been faithful in your relationship with Christ, faithful when it comes to being a good steward over your resources. You've been faithful in your relationships. And because you've been faithful and you've endured, God is going to show up just for you. Yes, he might bypass some others. He might bypass somebody else that need him. But I believe he's coming to see about you because you endured the worst. And here is what I want to say to you. Since you've endured the worst, your miracle is about to take place. But it will not take place like everybody else's, because this man was waiting on the angel like everybody else. And guess what? Out of nowhere, Jesus shows up. So I want to encourage somebody. Your miracle that you're believing God for, it won't happen like everybody else. Maybe God is saving yours so that he can make a special delivery himself. Thank God, because just when you least expect, things can turn around for you. Stay faithful, stay focused, and keep building. I love you. Be blessed.